Dope.
Now we're laughing. All right. Welcome back. I know you all missed it. I know you all wanted us to come back for another episode. You were just dying in the comments. There were so many really nice comments. We really appreciate that. Keep up the support. We love that. That just really keeps us going, and it just really gives us the motivation to keep on shooting these episodes every week.
Yeah, Mike was actually telling me that he actually had a bit of a moment in the shower yesterday reading some of those comments.
Yeah. No, it
was just really inspirational. It filled him with a lot of joy, and yeah, thank you so much.
Honestly, I was just almost at the verge of tears. I just can't even imagine that there's actually people out there that would say those nice things to Sam and I. And yeah, I'm just a changed man for the better. So
should we get the podcast on here then?
I say we get it going. So yeah, I mean, you know the name of the podcast, Roll the Dice. Welcome back. This is episode 3, our second episode using video and audio. So, we're moving up in the world.
It's pretty savage.
It's pretty unreal. So, yeah, today we actually came up with a couple of different ideas, one might say, right? A couple of different ideas that are dice related, because obviously we got to stick to the theme of Roll the Dice. And, I mean, hey, why don't we just jump right into it? Why don't we just get going?
Yes, sirski.
So, Sam and I came up with the genius idea of doing a segment called Dicey Debates. All right. So each week we're going to roll 2 6-sided dice, and we're going to pick one. And then we have 12 hot take debate ideas. And then we're going to flip a coin to decide who argues for and who argues against, even if you don't agree with the assigned side.
Sounds good.
Keeps it interesting. And yeah, here we go. What do you say, Sam? You want to do the honors roll first?
Fuck it, let's do it.
Get after it.
Do I just roll 1 6-sided dice or 2?
Nah, I say roll all of them.
All right.
You can just roll for both of us.
A 12.
Ooh.
Now that's why they call me the Yahtzee King, because I just get whatever number I want.
Is it ever okay to lie?
Damn. Yes.
So you want to argue for yes?
Yes.
All right. Then I guess I'm gonna have to argue for against. Well, I mean, I don't know, if you get down to the brass tacks of the matter, right? You got to be able to have principle. You got to be able to really make sure that you're living your life's dream. And how can you do that if you're being dishonest to yourself and to other people?
You know what's ironic though is I feel like you're kind of lying right now.
Am I?
Yeah.
Am I? You know what? I don't think I've ever been more serious in my entire life.
I think it's okay to lie. I think it's okay to white lie.
I guess if you were to use the example of, I don't know, what's a good example of a white lie?
If somebody has really low self-esteem and they come up to you and they're like, "Hey, am I ugly? Or do I look fat?"
True.
And you're just like, "Yup." I think instead you should maybe say, I don't know if fully lie and be like, no, but I think you should be supportive, which is in a way a white lie, not answering their question maybe. Yeah. I don't know. There's definitely scenarios where I think it's better for you and the other person to just kind of tell a white lie because it's not really that big of a deal.
Interesting. I would argue the counterpoint of, you never know how it can affect somebody's life for better or for worse. So why would you rather sugarcoat the truth and have them keep on going about their day-to-day life thinking that they weren't fat or that they weren't hideous? Because maybe they'll try to do something about it. Let's say somebody's dog ugly. They did not get a very good hand. Obviously, there's not much you can do about it.
Anyone you're talking about in particular?
I'm looking at him right now. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. You're really ugly, and you got to do something about it. I've been meaning to tell you for years. Yikes. Fuck. No, but I mean, you never know. Maybe somebody's going to start hitting the gym more. Maybe they're going to start, I don't know. Maybe they're going to start changing their life for the better. Eating more kale, Eat more beans.
That is true. I think maybe weight was a bad example, but I think certain things you can't change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know.
There's always plastic surgery though.
That's crazy. Or like, I don't know, maybe you're like, if your parents or something, if they're like incredibly concerned about you,
Yeah.
you know, maybe you're like kind of going through a bit of hardship and they're like, oh, how are you doing? Like, yeah, I'm doing good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you don't need to tell your parents like, oh, like I'm having a really hard time right now. Like, unless you really need their support, you know?
Also, like, I don't know, an example where I would say it's okay is like, let's say you're like 16, 17 and you like snuck out of the house to go and like have a couple beers with your friends.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not about to go home and then immediately be like, oh, guess where I was tonight?
Yep.
Like, I was just out drinking with my buddy, just having a grand old time.
Yeah.
Like, in that scenario, you know, you gotta be young. You gotta have a good time. And
yeah,
I feel like those kind of scenarios, like, even as a parent, obviously I'm not going to be happy, but it's not like I never did that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty situational. I think also it depends how close you are to the person. Like, you know, if it's someone you're close to and they're asking you for your honest opinion about the way they look or something about their life, then I feel like being honest might make a bit more sense.
But if it's just some
if you're at a party and some random dude is like, fuck man, like I'm so down on my luck right now, like I'm just fucking struggling, like
yeah,
do I look like shit, like what or something, you know, whatever he's asking you, and you know, I mean, you're just gonna white lie or whatever. You don't even know the guy, but
you're just like, yeah, dude, you suck, man.
Yeah, that would be crazy. You know what I mean? That would be crazy. So I do think it's like situationally okay. I think that like most of the time you should just be honest with people, but I do think that there's like a difference between being honest with people and being like super abrasive. For sure.
I feel like there comes to a point where you're having a conversation with somebody and they're a little too blunt.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe they just don't have like the social awareness to be able to realize like, oh, I might actually really hurt this person's feelings if I say this to them. Right. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I do remember people in my life that have been like that I have lost a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
Just because like seeing how they treat other people, you're kind of just like, hey, like what's going on?
Yeah. And I think like to a certain extent too, that blunt honesty honestly isn't even true sometimes. Like people are trying to be so blunt that they kind of just make things black and white. I think being blunt can be pretty black and white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always a lot more to this story when it comes to people. So
also I do feel like, I don't know, like one thing people may not realize when they're slightly younger and maybe they're being blunt with other people or other people are being blunt with them, it doesn't necessarily mean that that person's opinion is the truth or that person's opinion is how you should end up feeling, right? Like people can be blunt, but you have to be able to kind of let those opinions roll off you. And then at the end of the day, just make up your own opinion about how you feel about any given scenario, right? Like you can't really give other people's opinions too much power in like certain situations, I would say. Yeah.
You got to be careful who you listen to for sure. You can't listen to everybody.
No. God, no. Yeah, it's going to put you in a bad spot.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. To sum it up, is it ever okay to lie? I definitely think there's situations where it's okay to lie. Do you agree?
I'll say, I wouldn't necessarily say lie, but I'll say white lie.
Okay, valid.
Well,
I think if you're lying to get away from taking responsibility for something, okay. I think that's total BS.
Yeah.
I just think if you're white lying or if you're like, I don't know, if you're just not maybe answering the question that they're asking you, or you're kind of like avoiding things and it's not for yourself, like it's for for like the sake of another person. For the sake of another person, you know what I mean? Just knowing that they're going to be very upset or something
right
by it, and it has nothing to do with you. You know, it's different if they're going to be upset and it has something to do with you.
Right.
So
I would also like, touching on your point about what you said earlier, I would say it's really important to be able to recognize like which people in your life are the kind of people that you don't give a shit about that you're going to be able to white lie to and just not really give a fuck.
Yeah.
Or the kind of people like you and I, like,
Yeah.
obviously if you're like, yo, dude, like I'm feeling down today. Like,
Yeah.
do I look like shit? I'm probably not going to be like, yeah, dude, you do look like shit, but I'm going to be like, hey man, just go to the gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like something like that where you can
Exactly.
kind of like find a healthy median where you're not necessarily telling them that they look like ass, but you're like, hey, if you want to not look like ass, then go do something about it.
Yeah.
You also don't look like ass.
No, but it's, or maybe more realistically is like, maybe I look like down on the day
Exactly,
or whatever.
right?
It's
Exactly.
Like, yo,
Like, you didn't get
go
enough
take a
sleep.
walk.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Try to do something else to like make you feel better.
100%.
All right.
Should we do another one of these?
Let's do another one, man.
Okay, you roll the dice this time.
Roll the dice.
Roll the dice.
Oh, that's actually sick, dude. I'm fired up.
7.
Heaven.
I knew you couldn't roll 12.
Yo, you're mad. Wait, oh, that's the wrong one, sorry. Should college be free? All right. Yes. Yes.
I don't think so.
Definitely, I think so.
I don't think so.
Why?
So Mars is explaining in Europe, like, basically there's like a super, at least in Belgium, not in all of Europe, in Belgium, there's like a super high percentage of like kids that like go to college for free, and like they'll fail first year like 2 or 3 times, and they just never take it seriously, and they just waste a bunch of taxpayer money, and it doesn't do anything for them either. I think the system we have here is definitely not perfect. Obviously, like, I would prefer college to be free because, like, I actually, you know, do care about getting a bachelor's degree.
Right.
And, like, so do you. But it's just, if you make it free for everybody, then it gets taken for granted. I don't know what the solution would be, but I don't think making it free like they have in, like, certain countries in Europe is a good use of money, and I don't think it actually benefits. I don't know. Maybe it does, because like even if they're not taking it seriously, like they're still getting some type of, like they're still getting some form of education a bit. So I guess you do bring up the average, you know,
like literacy rate,
intelligence in your country,
right? Like the average like political know-how.
Yeah, it's
right?
important.
Yeah.
I think that, like, I mean, even in Europe, from when I talked again for when I talked to Mars about it, he was saying that a lot of, at least Belgium and like a few other countries, are thinking about taking it away because it's just, again, it's just getting kind so much money.
Like it's just getting kind of what's the
abused.
Word? Abused. There you go.
Yeah, it's getting abused.
Interesting.
Which is what happens when you make anything free.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, like, I don't know, to argue that point, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But also, I do feel like there's a lot of people, I don't necessarily know if this would be the majority of people in these European countries where school is free, who either come from a super troubled home or who come from a place where when they're in school, that's kind of all they really have. And without it, they're just not really going to have like much place to go, or maybe their parents don't really give them anything and like don't really value education. And I feel like it at least gives them a path that they can choose themselves, where at least they know that they're not going to have to worry about struggling with student loans, and they can get that education. They can have a place to go, even if maybe they don't end up finishing their degree. They're going to at least have more time where they can at least get maybe their income subsidized, or they can get their housing paid for, or they can at least get some help from the government in order to be able to figure out what they want to do, instead of having to just, I don't know, get stuck being like super dead broke. Or like maybe, for example, let's say in Canada, somebody wants to go to school and they can't afford it, and they also come from a shitty home. They're going to have like a couple of different options where they can either like go maybe into the trades, or go get like, I don't know, a minimum wage job somewhere. And then oftentimes like people's dreams will slowly but surely like dissipate, because they'll kind of just accept that that's where they're at. And I see that happening with a lot of people that maybe come out of like marginalized communities, or just like a lot of people who never even thought that that was an option in the first place. So I feel like that could really help with certain people who don't really have like all that many options. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. I think like there's a certain population of people that deserve a chance and deserve to be given free education. And I think most people would be happy giving taxpayer money for, you know, kids that don't have any support from their parents to go and get an education and go and, you know, pursue their dreams. You know, I just think that like there already is programs in place if your parents have no money. Like there's tons of funding and things like that. Not tons, but there is some. And you can do it in Canada. It's not perfect. And in Europe, obviously, it's easier than here. I think that, yeah, there should probably, again, I'm no expert on the European education system, so I don't really know exactly how everything works, but in my mind, it would make sense that, like, if you fail a class, then you should pay for it the second time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. Like a little fail-safe method that the people who don't take it seriously, they kind of get weeded out.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I could see that being a good idea for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not, it doesn't take, like, you can still go back to school. You're just, this time you're going to pay for it, so you're going to take it a bit more seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that I think is interesting that, like Germany does, and this could be taken like one of two ways, right? If you have, I don't know what the age cap is, but like, let's just say the age cap is like 27 or 25. If you have a kid that's enrolled in post-secondary education or just like in education, then like the parents of that kid will get sent money. So that helps a lot with people that are maybe like living under the poverty line, or maybe that are just people who, like, I don't know, don't make a crazy amount of money. They can have that supplemental income, and then it kind of benefits both parties. I can see how that would obviously be abused, right? Because a lot of kids will just stay in school and maybe not even show up to their classes because they know that it's going to help out their parents. But also I think it can like really benefit both parties, because then, you know, you're helping out your family and you're also like ideally helping out yourself, right?
In my mind, it would make more sense to have that totally separate.
Really?
Like if you have struggling lower class families, I think that like support and financial aid to them should be totally separate from where their kids go. I just think that I think like you said, it's something that would be pretty easy to abuse, and it's like all of this money comes from
taxpayers.
It's not, it's not stuff that just comes out of thin air. So I mean, where do you want to spend your money? Obviously, education in my mind is like a really big one. I think it's super important. I mean, look at, not to get political, but look at the US. They have terrible education.
And it also in turn leads them to make terrible decisions.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's be honest, education is always going to be beneficial for you in your life, regardless of what it is that you're getting educated on. Like, it's probably going to like further your ability to think for yourself, maybe be more self-reflective, right? Like,
exactly.
You're going to be able to make more like educated decisions, right?
Yeah. Yeah, again, like going back to the US, like, you know, some of the economic policies that are being pushed are going to completely, you know, gut the entire lower class of the United States, and none of them even understand it.
They have no idea, man.
They all think that it's going to be like they're going to be getting money. They think that, you know, and it's totally the opposite. They're going to be getting worse, like treated worse at work because labor laws are like getting reduced.
They're just getting tossed in the toilet, man.
Yeah. And if you want to start manufacturing in the States to compete with other countries, you have to remove certain labor laws. Otherwise, you can't compete. The price is too high.
Exactly.
So people's quality of life goes down.
Their hours get longer.
Their
work week gets longer.
Their wages have to go down to even compete with other countries.
Right.
So if the US actually, I don't think they will, because I think it would destroy the economy. I mean, like the stock market right now is like plummeting.
It's fucking, dude, they've lost like 2% on the GDP.
I know. So,
and it's been like 2 months.
Yeah, and
Trump
economists said that this was going to happen. I mean, it's not very surprising. But anyways, like Trump says, like he has a quote and he's like, "I love the uneducated," and it makes sense because like they don't understand what. They don't listen to what he's saying. They just listen to what he's trying to
the
convince
grandiose nature of him just being a charismatic, confident person is enough to portray this like super stand-up guy, but they don't actually do any of the research.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've seen it so many times. They watch one Joe Rogan interview and then he's the man. You know?
And we have people like that in Canada as well, but Canada on average has a much higher education than the US. So on average, people are just more logical. They also have, you know, more information, more sources, and less bias. We also just don't have that religious political system like in the US. So that also doesn't like, even if you're smart in the States, it's like if you're a Republican, it's like a religion, like you're a Republican, even if you're very smart, you know what I mean?
That's
They're
fair.
like blinded by it, almost, some of them. So it's kind of different here in terms of that as well. But yeah, I think that's super dangerous for a country to not have an educated population.
Right. And I would say like, I don't know. It's personally like, I think college should be free. Post-secondary education should be free, just so people at least have the option. Right. It's impossible to control who is going to abuse it and who isn't, but having the option, I think, is like really admirable. And I think that that's a really cool opportunity for people to be able to have, because I know myself, like I would probably choose to go and do that. So
yeah, no, that's
just
fair.
looking at it from like my own personal viewpoint, that's like how I would feel about it. But
that's fair. I think I obviously would love it to be free, but I do think that you would need to have systems in place to not just make it abusable. You know what I mean?
You would also need, like, the country's just too young and too divided at the moment to be able to ever reach that kind of consensus.
Yeah. I mean, like Quebec has cheaper university, it's subsidized. I think almost like you could go off of, you know, your parents' income for kids trying to go to college until they're probably like 25.
That's super
And then
fair,
you could subsidize it like under this, your parents make under this amount, you have free education.
Right.
Your parents are between this and this, it's subsidized this amount.
Yeah.
To me, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, think about some of the kids at UVic. Their parents absolutely do not need free schooling for their kids.
Yeah, you kidding me? These kids are loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. That's like the funny part though, is like, I don't know, let's just say like rough guesstimate, like 80% of the kids at UVic come from like a family that has like a household income of over like $100,000. That's like a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
And then like, if you really think about it, a lot of the kids who aren't going to be able to get the education are kids who are coming from these like super like impoverished households. I don't know, maybe that's like a massive over exaggeration, but it's just interesting to see how that's kind of like how it works when university is private and you have to pay for it.
Yeah. I also think something that I personally believe in a lot is I think that there should be a mandatory 1 to 2 year, I think 2 year service after you graduate high school for everybody in the country.
Like in Switzerland?
Yeah, I don't think it should be military. I think it should be when you graduate, you go through like, you can sign up for, I guess, like maybe different like groups where they concentrate more on maybe like retail or business or, you know, even whatever, kids that go to the military can do military or construction, trade stuff.
Just some sort of thing to try to like give back to the economy and where you can learn a work ethic.
And
right?
like you graduate and then you go to communities that need like extra help, or like you go into your own community and you have all these young people and like there's a project for them like every 2 years or whatever for them, and they go work as a group, they learn skills, there's professionals on board and everything. You get paid like minimum wage or something, and you come out of it, and then you have saved up money, hopefully, because you're living with your parents, or you're like, there'd be like room and board for free for these kids.
Yeah.
And then you get all this experience, you get to work with other people. Now you're 20 years old. Now you can decide, do I want to actually go to school?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, think about when you're 18, like,
you feel pretty rushed, right?
Like, dude,
you just see everybody else doing it and you're like, hey, mine as well, you know?
Exactly. And then I feel like by the time you're 20, if you've had work experience, and everybody has to do it, you know what I mean? So it's like,
exactly. You don't feel like you're getting left out.
You don't feel like,
and also you feel like you have a little bit more time where you can just not put so much pressure on yourself, be a little bit more patient, and then make that decision when you actually have a little bit more of a idea of what you exactly want to do.
And then you get exposed to the real world at the same time too, where you're getting paid,
right.
You know, or you're working a job, you're learning skills.
Maybe you're even like paying your own rent, cooking your own food. Like you at least get like some real world experience where.
But it's all a part of like a group of like youth, you know what I mean? So you don't feel alone if you're struggling and stuff. I just think that like 18 is crazy young to send
even
kids
17.
Yeah, to like go to university, you know what I mean? And it's like basically just so many kids just waste their money and time. I mean, it's socialization, which is cool, but the other system, in my opinion, I think kids would just get way more sense of community and way more like satisfaction. Like you're giving back to, you know, your community, or a community that needs like a new hospital or needs help doing this kind of work.
Any given thing, yeah. I also think like one thing that like Tabia was telling me about school in Germany is the students have a lot more freedom to be able to choose exactly like what they're interested in. So like, let's say you're interested in maybe like some more kind of like social work. Maybe you're interested in more like economics and business. Maybe you're interested in more like sciences and mathematics. Like each of these schools kind of have like their own little school that's like more specific to like each given area of like education. So you get to pick where you want to study, and then you get to like graduate with a diploma that is like more specific in that field. So you get to go like pursue maybe like post-secondary in that field, or maybe you get an idea like, oh, this isn't really for me, I want to go and do something else. Like I think that's pretty cool that you have like a little bit more freedom to choose something like a little bit more specific than just like the bland kind of things. Because I think there's a lot of kids in high school who are kind of just biding their time, either like waiting for graduation, nothing's like really speaking to them that much, they're having a hard time finding a course that they really like, or maybe they do find one course that they really like and they're super invested, and then at the end of that course they're like, all right, like why the fuck am I here? And then like we just lose them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that is pretty disconnected, like the transition from high school to university in Canada. Montreal is better or like Quebec, because they have the cégep.
Yeah, that's really, pretty really sweet, good. Man. I like that. Even just grade 13. I think grade 13 is sweet. Like Ontario's got that too.
I think it makes sense. I think you're so young when you graduate in grade 12. But yeah, anyways.
What can you do?
Should college be free? Maybe. Maybe it should be free.
Should healthcare be free? Yes.
Healthcare be free? Yeah. Again, you have to be careful with making everything free. But I think that like crucial services should definitely be free.
Should like surgery be free, for example, like a life-altering surgery? Yes.
Yeah, as long as it's not just cosmetic.
Yeah. No. Like if you need to get like a tumor removed.
Yeah.
Or you desperately need to get your leg amputated.
Just 100%.
Like those, right? Like
100%.
You shouldn't have to get put on a bloody wait list for like a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially the point we're at, like in human history, is, you know, we should be easily able to support everybody in Canada with those kinds of issues. It really should not be much of an issue to the taxpayer money and things like that. It's
people are just so afraid of taxes, man. They hate them.
Well, I mean, the government wastes a lot of our taxes on useless stuff, so that's why.
Yeah.
If our taxes were put to good use, nobody would have any issue with taxes. You know what I mean?
All right. What do you say we move on? We got a couple different options here. We could go into challenge mode. We could pick maybe a challenge.
Should we get a challenge?
We get a challenge,
or should we save it for the end?
say we save it for the end, and then we just kind of see what's going on.
Yeah.
All right. We could debate some more things. We could maybe talk about some different topics. Yeah, we could talk like, I don't know, this might be cool.
Go for it.
All right. Let me just quickly get this going here. Anyways, how's your week been going so far?
Pretty good. Just a grind at school, basically.
Yeah. I totally thought you had that midterm today.
Yeah, no, I did have one this morning.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
You were supposed to have 2 today, or?
No, I have one. I was supposed to have one tomorrow morning as well, but it got pushed back to Wednesday.
Nice.
So just more time to
There you go.
procrastinate.
Ah, fuck. There you go, man. That's tough. All right. We got some topics here.
You can just pick one.
Just pick one. Don't even bother rolling.
Yeah, we can save the rolling for the challenge at the end.
All right, that's valid. I don't know, man. There's too many to choose from.
I saw one earlier that said, "Do you believe in love at first sight?" I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I wanted to know what you thought about that.
There's only so much you can find out from seeing somebody for the first time. I think, I don't know, hear me out here, right?
Yeah.
So I think you can see somebody and you can have an incredible initial attraction. And maybe even after the first week of spending time with that person, you're going to be like, wow, like I'm like really in love with this person.
Yeah.
But I think for me personally, after having been in previous relationships,
Yeah.
and maybe having a little bit more experience with like the word love and just like that in general, I would say I take a lot more time to be able to like develop love in a person. I wouldn't necessarily say that it can be love at first sight when you're like, oh damn, like I am in love with this person, but you can see somebody and be like, okay, like I want that person. And like I want them in my life, and like I want to get to know them and see what they're like and just be able to fucking hang out with them. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
then if you,
I agree with that.
If you do vibe and you do really, really enjoy them, and maybe even like you love them, then fuck it. Like then you fell in love pretty damn quickly.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily say that love at first sight exists, because how can you love somebody that you don't know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just some fucking movie bullshit, man.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't agree.
I totally agree with you. I think that like, yeah, there's this, you might meet somebody and you guys have just like insanely good chemistry.
Yeah.
And you both hit it off super well. And that's kind of, I guess, what the feeling of love at first sight would be, because you're just incredibly attracted to this person.
Right.
But there's no way that you can, you know, deeply love somebody just off of
Right.
a first few interactions, because, I mean, love is really, at the end of the day, like, takes a lot of time, takes a lot of sacrifice.
And love is also a choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, love isn't just you wake up every day and like you're going to have a wonderful day in whatever given relationship that like love is in, be it your like private relationship with your partner, your friends, your family. Like, you're always going to have different relationships with different forms of love, and you always have to be able to like choose that love is for you. You know what I mean? Because at any given moment, obviously, like with your family, like it's a bit different depending on like your family situation. You are always going to be able to like make a choice and either keep that person in your life or not, you know?
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I wonder, for a lot of people our age, I wonder how they feel about it. Like people that haven't met necessarily, because we've both been in multiple serious long relationships. I wonder about people that have maybe never had that experience or have been in relationships that have lasted like 4 or 5 months. You know, like I think by then you're probably like starting to love somebody, but you haven't necessarily lived out the component of I'm gonna make compromise.
That's the thing.
The other
like
person's
sacrifice and
gonna make
compromise is
Yeah.
like, that's when you know that you like really love somebody, you know,
when
like,
you're happy to do it.
right. And when you're happy to do it, and when you're willing to like make those decisions that are going to like really affect you, but you know that it's worth it.
And that's why love so quickly can turn into resentment for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because if you're making all these sacrifices and the other person isn't, you're putting all of your, you know, your heart, your soul on the table, all of this effort, and the other person isn't reciprocating, that love can very quickly turn into anger and frustration, because at the end of the day, it's just a very deep emotion.
Right.
So,
yeah, man.
Yeah. Anyways, we both agree love at first sight does not exist.
Cap. It's a hoax.
It's a hoax.
It's a hoax, dude. I don't agree with it. So, what do you think about aliens?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about aliens, man? Paranormal activity, some might say. I would say I'm a believer.
You're a believer?
I'm a believer. I think there's like a stereotypical idea of what aliens are, and I don't think they're anything like that. I think that aliens in our solar system, if they exist, are just like tiny little microbes or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know whether or not they actually exist. I think in other galaxies, like statistically, it just makes sense that there's other life. And I don't know, maybe the universe is infinite and there's a million different versions of me having this exact conversation with the camera right now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know at all about anything, but I do like the idea of there being like ghosts and spirits that like are kind of like watching over you. And I do like, I don't know, like God and a higher being and praying and manifestation and the universe kind of having some power. I do personally like agree with that, and I think that that's like a really cool process of thought and like a way to live your life. So I think there's something, man. I really do.
I think there's probably alien life somewhere in the universe. I think it would be so much more unlikely for there not to be life somewhere else than for it to be likely for us to be the only life.
Right.
I also think it'd be terrifying if if planet Earth is the only planet with life on it.
Yeah. That'd
be pretty scary. Like, if we fuck it up, like that's it.
That's it, man.
But I do think
shit.
What?
I don't know, man. It's just like every once in a while you'll just have those moments where you're just kind of sat and you're like, man, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of an outer body experience.
Right? You're kind of like looking at everything and you're like, whoa.
Well, in high school, I used to be so obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Just picturing myself, you know, you like picture yourself in like Campbell River or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you zoom out and you picture yourself on Vancouver Island. You're like, damn, I'm really small on Vancouver Island. And then you zoom out, picture yourself in BC, picture yourself in Canada, picture yourself in North America, picture yourself in terms of planet Earth.
And then you're like, whoa.
Planet Earth is this not even visible speck. It's like maybe the size of an atom on our planet compared to the universe.
Yeah.
So it's like how, and you on planet Earth are invisible. So it's like, at the end of the day, you just have to live your life for yourself.
That's
it,
man. You got to be able to find meaning in the mundane. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like,
you just got to be able to do whatever makes you happy. Like, I don't know, simply put, that's kind of just all it really is.
Yeah. I find maybe this is a bit off topic, but I find it very interesting thinking about rulers and kings. There's multiple rulers that have called themselves like emperor of the universe or like emperor of whatever, you know what I mean?
Thinking that they're like the peak life form in the entire universe.
And they have maybe, let's say, like a super high number. I don't even know if there's many civilizations that would have reached like 2 million
like
people,
subjects,
people in their kingdom. And that number is minuscule compared to how many people currently live on Earth now.
Yeah.
And this person, you know, just by having that power, believe themselves to be massive, believe themselves to be a big deal in terms of the universe. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's really interesting how the human brain can like portray this image to yourself that's completely false, and like and just allow your ego to become so massive that you think that you are, I guess, as big as the universe, or like controller of the universe.
It's interesting, eh?
There's a king, I can't remember if it was a Persian king or a Zolamite king or whatever. I can't remember what they were called, but one of the kings, they were doing this river crossing, and they were building these bridges across the rivers, and the bridges broke away, and you know, everything like got destroyed and everything. So they were back on shore and then trying to figure it out. And the king was so mad at the river that for 3 days he made people whip the river.
That's insane.
To like show it who was boss, I guess.
Yikes. Man, dude, put that guy in a psych ward. That's insane.
But it just goes to show you how much power can just make you delusional.
Right? To think that you would have power over Mother Nature is just absurd.
Or yeah, and even to think that like it matters, like I don't know, that action matters, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because it doesn't matter. It's just a moving body of water, and it's also, it was what it was when you got there, and you knew what it was, and then you got mad for what it was.
Yeah.
I think that's always quite interesting when people have that.
Yeah. Yeah, you expect something to be different than what it is, and you always knew what it was.
I think there's a lot of, not to go back to relationships, but I think there's a shit ton of people that get into relationships knowing what the other person is.
Yeah.
Not wanting to accept. Dude, that's got to pick up on the mic. Yikes. So bad.
Yeah, that's probably super
you got no
obnoxious.
Water left.
Love water.
But yeah, no, you get into a relationship knowing who the person is, seeing them for who they are, but in your head, because it's turning into a relationship, it's easier to ignore that. It's easier to just kind of convince yourself that there's somebody that they're not.
Right.
Or that they're going to change to the way that you want them to change.
Yeah.
To.
Or maybe you even think that you're going to be able to change them into like you, or you're going to be able to be like, all right.
Into
like,
the person you want to be with.
Exactly.
Instead of just accepting the person that you have met and are with them, and they have their flaws and they have their strengths, but they're never going to be, you're never going to find somebody that's, you know, perfect. That just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Because you're not perfect, so, and nobody else is perfect, so there's always something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
It's part of what makes life interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find that just that idea of somebody, it's almost like, I don't know, not to go back to the US, but like Elon Musk. He just seems like he thinks like he's such a big deal, because he is a big deal. He's got a ton of money, but in the grand scheme of things,
in 200 years from now, the guy's gonna be long gone.
Yeah,
he might get talked about in the history books, but other than that, like nobody's really gonna give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, arguably, even the greatest maybe what I'm trying to say, even at the end of the day, like Alexander the Great, you know what I mean? Xerxes,
Napoleon.
King Darius, Napoleon. These are some of the most influential, most talked about people in history. They're still dead right now.
Yeah.
Their impact, like Napoleon, probably not a great guy.
Definitely not.
And
George Washington, but he sucked.
Yeah.
Like the first George Washington. Like I'm sure, like Abe Lincoln, for example, he's like a perfect example of somebody who changed the United States for the better, but it doesn't change the flow of time. You know what I mean? Like Sam and I are still here talking about a bunch of nonsense, and Abe's still dead, you know?
That's right.
And eventually there's going to be some other blokes talking about nonsense, and we're going to be dead.
Yep.
And maybe they're going to watch this podcast and be like, fuck, the same thing's going to happen to us.
Yeah. I just think, it's like to have your ego get to the point where you think that like your moment in time is the most important moment in time.
Yeah.
is a very delusional thought to have.
I mean, it's like the Dan Carlin quote, or maybe it's not him, but like what is it, like all power corrupts like absolutely or something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolute power corrupts absolutely everyone.
Yeah, there you go. Right? Like when you have that much power, being able to keep your ego in check and being able to think that you're not the center of the universe is probably arguably harder than accepting that you are the center of the universe, because like you lift a finger and everybody does everything for you all the time.
Yeah. I'd like to think that I wouldn't have that ego. It's such an interesting thing because like I could just never imagine myself falling into that delusion. Mm-hmm. But maybe at some point, like if every single person in my life started treating me as if I was a king.
Yeah, it's like fame.
Everyone I met, right?
You know, people change. Like people change a lot with fame.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I don't know, maybe I would. But I guess maybe also, like, the kind of person that would get into that position is already definitely predisposed.
Yeah.
You know, predisposed to, like, believing that they're that person as well.
Yeah. Maybe it's all just, like, manifestation at the end of the day.
It's easier to convince other people when you're all, like, you yourself are convinced that's who you are.
Right.
I would never be able to convince myself that I'm better than everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Off topic of aliens. Yes, I think aliens exist.
Somewhere. Somehow. I don't know. I'd like to meet them. I'd like to see what's going on.
It'd be cool. I don't know. Maybe there's technologically advanced aliens somewhere out there.
Yeah.
But obviously not advanced enough to actually reach us. Otherwise we'd know. And
would you, like, I would say one of the only ways that aliens wouldn't exist is if you and I are living in a simulation right now.
Yeah. Or if Christianity is like completely right about everything. And I guess like, yeah, I don't know. I think it would be pretty insane.
Yeah.
But who knows at the end of the day what's real or not real.
That's the thing, right? Like, I don't know. I'm a firm believer that you hold the control over how you choose to live your life. Like, obviously that begs to question like whether or not we actually have any free will, but like I'd like to believe that we do, because I'm not necessarily inherently like the biggest nihilist when it comes down to it. But I would say if you don't choose to live your life like you have control over it, then it can be really hard to find joy in the small things, you know?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I don't remember if you I don't know if you remember me talking about this, but back in high school when I was struggling and I kind of was coming out of it, and it was like, my whole mindset was, you know, you have the choice for how you want to feel about everything. Mm-hmm. You have the choice for your mentality about everything. So like, you know, if you're feeling down, you're choosing to feel down. You know what I mean? You're letting yourself feel down. So why not just choose to try and be happy, or try and be content, or try to like better yourself, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And enjoy life instead of just giving up and choosing to not take anything seriously or to not really take responsibility for yourself. Mm-hmm. I think it's a very interesting thing. It's obviously easier to just give up on yourself, because a lot of people do that.
I also think it depends a lot on how you were raised. Like, I think a lot of the way that your parents treat you is going to end up being a lot of the way that you choose to view yourself and how you go about living your life.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Because if you don't get the self-assurance and you don't get the support from your parents to show that you can have control over your life and you can control your own destiny, then I feel like a lot of people will simply just never believe that and just do exactly what everybody else is doing all the time, because they think that that's what's for them. Mm. Right?
Yeah, it's less scary to follow in other people's footsteps than to just do your own thing.
Yeah.
But then once you're doing your own thing, you just realize how much more confident and comfortable you are doing it, and you don't feel like you're needing to look around for somebody else to show you the way.
Right? Yeah, that's why I prefer to be significantly more independent financially, obviously, but also just like in every like facet of my life. Like that's why like I really enjoyed solo traveling, and where I feel like that's where I truly like found who I am, is just because being able to rely on myself and having nothing to fall back on, it just really made me like come alive, so to speak, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, having hardship is important. It's important for confidence, and it's important for growth for sure.
Yeah.
What else do we got? I guess, to be honest, at this point, we could do the
We do the challenge. We're probably going to talk about it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's do the challenge.
All right, we got to roll the dice for the challenge though. Come on now.
Yeah, I know for sure, but we need to let me see what these challenges are. I guess we're not going to read them all, but like
challenge mode. All right.
Let's just just roll the dice.
F it. You want to roll?
Are we taking the same challenge? Or do we roll and take different challenges each?
Let's do different challenges.
All right, you're up first then.
All right.
3.
Random hobby roulette. Pick a completely new hobby at random. Juggling, origami, chess, calligraphy, and spend at least an hour trying to learn it.
It's kind of fun.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm keen for that.
What are you going to pick?
Do
you have any ideas?
I don't know yet.
Yeah, facts.
I don't know yet. I'll have to get back on
editing this video.
Yeah. To be fair, I have been editing something.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you about it after, because it's a surprise.
Or maybe you can just like ask it after I roll.
Yeah. What's a random hobby that I could
ask
do?
it to give you a random one, and then you've got to do it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Get it done, bro. Roll up.
All right. 6.
Ooh.
Flip a coin for every decision.
That's wild.
What you wear, what you eat, where you go. Interesting.
You can roll again if you want.
No, I'll do it. I can't do it on a day where I have like
where you actually have shit to do. It's like, should I go to this midterm? You flip a coin.
should I fail my class? Should I not fail my class? It. No, that's interesting. I'll do it on like a weekend day.
Yeah. Where like you don't really have anything planned or anything to do.
Yeah.
Just flip it. See what happens.
That's cool. That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do give it for 3, I think it was.
For 3?
Yeah. Right. Hold that guy? Yeah, sure. All right, let's see what it comes up with here. Carving.
What the fuck? I don't even have a knife for whittling.
I have my Leatherman.
All right, fuck that. That's so dumb.
Come on, dude. You got to do it.
I just peaked hard. Try to whittle something that represents your week.
We both peaked for no reason.
Fuck, that sucks.
Why are we peaking so much? What happened?
I don't know. My mic was like right next to my mouth.
Dude, yeah.
Fucking whittling, dude. That's so dumb.
I'm curious to what you're going to make.
I'll probably make a spear.
It says try whittling something that represents your week.
All right.
And then you can show your results on the next podcast.
Where am I going to get wood for whittling? Am I going to have to go to like Home Depot or something, get like a block? To be fair, I could probably just find like a piece of wood in the woods.
Bro, for my coin flip one, if we go downtown on the weekend or something, like I can just flip a coin for like everything.
Should I get a drink here?
Should I get another beer?
Oh my god, it's all
Should
night
I talk
long.
To this person?
Yeah, I like that.
That'd be funny.
Then I just follow you around with the camera.
Exactly. Yeah,
that would be hilarious.
Let's do that. That'll be funny as fuck,
bro. And then we'll cut to me, and then I'll just be whittling. That is funny, man. I like that. That's actually so funny.
All right, cool, nice. That's good.
Hell yeah.
That's a good Roll the Dice podcast right there.
Yeah, I'd say this is our best episode yet.
It only gets better with time.
Only gets better from here.
We just need to get like a stand for the mic so we're not holding it.
I know, man. I've got the dream of us having the mics that like come in from the side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That would be super nice.
For that, we'd actually need like proper podcast setup. Also, ideally, we talked about this in the second episode, but if we could get some kind of tripod to position your phone so we could shoot in the red room, It's just a way cooler ambiance.
I think
we can bring
the tripod is like more important than the mic stand.
Oh, by far, dude. I'm happy to just hold my mic for the first like 10, 15 episodes. I don't really care.
It's really not that big of a deal.
Nah, but the tripod would be a huge game changer. Like I don't want to have to set it up on my dresser forever.
100%, yeah. It'll just give us more freedom for where we want to record. Also, like recording fucking episodes outside, like
so cool.
Like with the ocean as a backdrop, like some random nature spots.
We just like go down to Caddy Bay or something.
Yeah, or like the lookout point.
Yeah,
out at 10 Mile Point.
Yeah.
That would be sick.
That'd be unreal.
Yeah,
because I mean, all we really need is my laptop charged, and then that's all we need at all.
You can get a battery bank. Like your laptop isn't gonna get drained that fast just recording the audio.
I was probably at like around 80%, and I've
so you're chilling.
30%.
It'd be more for my phone that's recording. We'll see. I mean, it's charging.
Your phone was fine last time. Surprisingly,
it was at 1%, but it was also recording in 4K, 60 FPS.
What time? Like, what was the percentage when we started recording?
I'm not sure. I'm sure it would be fine.
Yeah. We'll suss it.
All right. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
All right, guys. This is the end of episode 3. Roll the Dice podcast. In this episode, we rolled the dice to decide what we wanted to discuss and decide a challenge for each of us at the end, where Mike is going to be whittling wood this week to represent his emotional week.
Yep.
We're not sure what he'll come up with. Maybe an eagle, maybe a grizzly bear.
Could be a turtle even.
Could be a turtle. Maybe he's scared. Maybe he wants to hide in his shell.
That's exactly it.
I'm also going to be doing a challenge where I flip a coin and base my decisions off flipping a coin for a day or a night out or something.
Whatever we want to do.
But yeah, that's about it.
That's about it for this week. Thanks for stopping in, and don't stop rolling.
Peace.